Welcome to Audiobook segment. Every story you'll hear is crafted from the ground up, written, produced, and narrated entirely by us. Nothing recycled, nothing repurposed, just original work made for this channel. So grab your headphones, settle in, and enjoy today's audiobook. Welcome to Learn to Love Yourself More Than Anyone Else. This audiobook is for anyone who has ever doubted themselves, felt insecure, or put other people's needs before their own. The truth is, self-love is the foundation for everything in life. It affects your confidence, your relationships, your decisions, and ultimately, your happiness. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you want to get more content like this. By taking this journey with us, you are making a choice to prioritize yourself, your growth, and your well-being. Remember, this is not just about feeling good, it's about learning how to truly value yourself in a world that constantly tries to tell you otherwise. Throughout this audiobook, we will explore practical steps, mindset shifts, and actionable habits that help you develop a deep, unshakable love for yourself. We'll talk about recognizing your worth, setting boundaries, embracing imperfections, and creating a life that reflects your true value. By the end, you'll understand that loving yourself is not selfish, it's necessary. Now let's begin this journey. Chapter 1: Discovering the True You. Before you can love yourself fully, you need to discover who you truly are. Many people spend their entire lives trying to fit into someone else's expectations or looking for validation from others. They forget to explore their own thoughts, feelings, and desires. This chapter is about helping you understand your authentic self, the person who exists beyond the judgments, comparisons, and opinions of the world. The first step in discovering yourself is spending time alone. This doesn't mean isolating yourself from friends or family, but it means creating space where you can reflect on your own feelings, thoughts, and experiences. When you are alone with your mind, without distractions, you start to notice patterns about yourself. You begin to understand what makes you happy, what makes you uncomfortable, and what you truly value. Many people fear solitude because it forces them to face themselves, but solitude is a gift. In those quiet moments, you get to know your own mind and heart. You start asking questions like, what do I enjoy? What matters to me? And who do I want to be? These questions are the first step toward discovering your true self. Self-discovery also requires honesty. It is easy to pretend or hide parts of yourself that you think others might not like. But true self-love begins with acceptance. Look at your thoughts, your feelings, your habits, and your mistakes without judgment. Understand that every part of you is a piece of your unique puzzle. Accepting yourself as you are lays the foundation for loving yourself. Another important aspect of discovering yourself is exploring your passions. What activities make you feel alive? What subjects or hobbies do you enjoy without being told to do so? Passion is a reflection of your authentic self. Engaging in activities you love helps you understand your strengths, preferences, and unique qualities. It also reinforces the idea that your needs and desires are valid. Your past experiences shape who you are, and acknowledging them is part of discovering yourself. Reflect on your life, your successes, your challenges, and the lessons you've learned. Don't ignore painful moments. They are often the ones that teach you the most about your resilience and character. Understanding your past allows you to see how far you've come and how much potential you have for growth. Personality is another layer to explore. Are you introverted or extroverted? Do you think before speaking or act impulsively? Do you enjoy calm and quiet or excitement and adventure? These traits are not good or bad. They are simply parts of who you are. Recognizing your personality helps you make choices that suit your natural tendencies, making your life feel more authentic and satisfying. Values play a crucial role in self-discovery. What do you stand for? What principles guide your decisions? Identifying your core values helps you prioritize what truly matters in life. When your actions align with your values, you feel more content and confident. Living against your values, even unknowingly, can create inner conflict and reduce your self-esteem. Another tool for self-discovery is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can reveal patterns you might not notice otherwise. It gives your mind space to process emotions and helps clarify what you really want. Daily journaling, even for a few minutes, allows you to track your growth, see your progress, and stay connected to your inner self. Feedback from others can be helpful, but it must be filtered through your own understanding. People will always have opinions, but not all of them reflect the truth about you. Learn to listen without giving away your own sense of self. Use constructive feedback to improve, but do not let other people's judgments define your identity. Your sense of self must come from within. Self-discovery is also about noticing your strengths and weaknesses. Everyone has talents and areas where they excel. Everyone also has weaknesses and areas for growth. Recognize both without judgment. Celebrate your strengths and work gently on your weaknesses. Understanding yourself fully, including both strengths and flaws, is essential for true self-love. It is normal to feel uncertain or confused during this process. Self-discovery is not a destination, it is a lifelong journey. You will change, grow, and evolve over time. Who you are today is not who you will be 5 years from now. Accepting that change is natural, allows you to remain curious, open, and compassionate toward yourself. As you discover yourself, start practicing self-acceptance. Speak kindly to yourself. Avoid harsh self-criticism or negative labels. Treat yourself as you would a close friend. Self-acceptance does not mean complacency. It means acknowledging your current self while still striving to improve. Finally, remember that discovering yourself is the first step toward loving yourself. You cannot truly love someone you do not know. By understanding your thoughts, emotions, values, passions, and personality, you begin to build a deep connection with yourself. This connection becomes the foundation for self-love, confidence, and a happier, more authentic life. Take the time to explore yourself, reflect, and accept. Each small step brings you closer to the person you were always meant to be, the person worthy of love, respect, and happiness. Loving yourself begins with knowing yourself, and the journey starts here. Chapter 2. Understanding Self-Worth. Loving yourself begins with understanding your own self-worth. Self-worth is the belief that you are valuable, important, and deserving of love and respect. Without it, it is easy to rely on others for validation, doubt yourself constantly, or accept less than you deserve. This chapter will help you recognize your value and understand why it is essential to love yourself first. The first step in understanding self-worth is recognizing that it is not based on external factors. Many people tie their self-worth to achievements, appearance, money, or the approval of others. While these things can feel good temporarily, they are unreliable measures of value. True self-worth comes from within. It is the belief that you are inherently deserving, no matter what happens outside of you. One way to strengthen self-worth is to observe how you treat yourself. Do you speak kindly to yourself, or do you constantly criticize and judge? Do you prioritize your needs, or do you always put others first? Your self-treatment reflects how much you value yourself. By changing your inner dialogue and your habits, you reinforce the belief that you are worthy of love and care. Boundaries are another key aspect of self-worth. Setting boundaries is not selfish, it is a way of showing yourself respect. When you say no to things that drain you or compromise your values, you send a message to yourself and others that your needs matter. People who understand their worth do not allow others to mistreat, manipulate, or belittle them. They protect their energy and their self-respect. Self-worth also grows when you acknowledge your strengths and accomplishments. Many people focus only on weaknesses or failures, ignoring their successes. Take time to celebrate your achievements, no matter how small. Each time you recognize your capabilities, you reinforce the belief that you are competent, valuable, and capable of growth. Another important element is self-compassion. Everyone makes mistakes and experiences setbacks. Those with strong self-worth treat themselves with understanding instead of harsh criticism. Self-compassion allows you to forgive yourself, learn from errors, and continue moving forward without losing confidence. Loving yourself means being gentle with your imperfections, not punishing yourself for them. Comparison is one of the biggest enemies of self-worth. In today's world, it is easy to measure yourself against others through social media, peers, or colleagues. But comparison diminishes your sense of value because it shifts attention away from your own unique qualities. Remember that your journey is yours alone. Your worth is not determined by someone else's success, appearance, or achievements. Developing self-worth also involves understanding your values. When you know what matters to you, you can make decisions that align with your beliefs. Acting in harmony with your values reinforces your sense of integrity and self-respect. When your life reflects your true values, you feel more confident and deserving of happiness. Gratitude is a powerful tool to enhance self-worth. Take time each day to acknowledge the qualities you appreciate about yourself. Maybe it's your resilience, kindness, creativity, or ability to solve problems. Gratitude reminds you that you are more than your mistakes or failures. It highlights your strengths and inherent value. Self-worth is also built by taking responsibility for your life. When you take ownership of your choices, actions, and emotions, you empower yourself. Blaming others or circumstances weakens your belief in your abilities. Understanding that you can influence your life and make positive changes strengthens your self-respect and reinforces that you are deserving of a good life. Relationships play a role in self-worth too. Surround yourself with people who value and respect you. Avoid those who constantly criticize, manipulate, or undermine you. Healthy relationships reflect and reinforce your worth, while toxic ones can diminish it. Choosing supportive relationships is an act of self-love. It is normal for self-worth to fluctuate. Some days you may feel confident and deserving, other days insecure and doubtful. The key is not to let these fluctuations define you. Self-worth is consistent because it comes from within, not from temporary emotions or external events. Practice reminding yourself of your inherent value daily, even when you feel uncertain. Affirmations can help solidify self-worth. Simple statements like, "I am worthy of love and respect," "I am enough as I am," or "I deserve happiness" can reinforce your belief in yourself. Repeating affirmations consistently helps retrain your mind to value yourself, even when doubts arise. Finally, remember that self-worth is the foundation of self-love. When you understand and embrace your value, loving yourself becomes natural. You stop seeking constant approval, stop comparing yourself, and start making choices that honor your needs and desires. Self-worth empowers you to live confidently, authentically, and with purpose. Take the time to reflect on your worth. List your strengths, acknowledge your accomplishments, and remind yourself daily that you are valuable simply because you exist. Self-worth is not earned, it is recognized. Once you understand this, loving yourself becomes inevitable. Chapter 3. Letting go of self-doubt. Self-doubt is one of the biggest obstacles to loving yourself. It makes you question your abilities, second-guess your decisions, and fear taking action. When self-doubt dominates your thoughts, you start relying on others for validation and struggle to recognize your own worth. Letting go of self-doubt is essential to building confidence and self-love. The first step in overcoming self-doubt is recognizing it. Notice the thoughts that make you feel uncertain, inadequate, or afraid to act. Pay attention to how your mind criticizes you, compares you to others, or questions your decisions. Awareness is crucial because you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. Next, challenge your negative thoughts. Self-doubt is often fueled by inaccurate beliefs about yourself. For example, you might think, "I'm not good enough," or "I'll never succeed." Ask yourself, is this really true? Is there evidence to support this thought? Often, you will find that self-doubt exaggerates problems and ignores your strengths. By questioning these thoughts, you weaken their power over you. Another way to overcome self-doubt is to focus on past successes. Reflect on moments when you accomplished something meaningful or handled a difficult situation successfully. These memories remind you of your capabilities and reinforce the belief that you can overcome challenges. Your past proves that self-doubt is often unfounded. Action is also a powerful antidote to self-doubt. Often, we wait to feel confident before taking action. But confidence comes from doing, not thinking. Start with small steps. Each step you take, even if imperfect, builds momentum and proves to yourself that you are capable. Action replaces fear with experience and self-trust. Self-doubt thrives on comparison. When you measure yourself against others, you focus on perceived weaknesses instead of your own strengths. Remember, everyone has a unique journey. Comparing your beginning to someone else's middle or end is unfair and unhelpful. Focus on your path, your progress, and your potential. It is important to replace self-doubt with self-encouragement. Speak to yourself like you would to a close friend. Instead of criticizing yourself, say, "I am capable, I can handle this," or "I am learning and growing every day." Positive self-talk reshapes your mindset, gradually reducing self-doubt and building confidence. Learning to accept mistakes is another key to letting go of self-doubt. Perfectionism fuels uncertainty and fear of failure. Understand that mistakes are part of growth and learning. Each time you stumble and recover, you prove to yourself that you are resilient and capable. Failure is not a reflection of your worth. It is a stepping stone toward improvement. Surround yourself with supportive people. Those who encourage, believe in, and uplift you make it easier to trust yourself. Avoid constant exposure to negative or critical individuals who reinforce self-doubt. Positive influences help normalize your worth and remind you that you are capable of achieving your goals. Mindfulness is another tool to manage self-doubt. Often, doubt arises from dwelling on past failures or worrying about the future. Mindfulness teaches you to focus on the present moment, observe your thoughts without judgment, and respond intentionally. By staying grounded, you reduce the power of doubt and increase self-awareness. Set realistic goals and celebrate progress. Unrealistic expectations can fuel self-doubt, while achievable goals help you build confidence. Break tasks into small, manageable steps and acknowledge each accomplishment. Recognizing progress, no matter how small, reinforces belief in your abilities. Visualizing success is also effective. Imagine yourself handling situations with confidence, making decisions decisively, and achieving your goals. Visualization prepares your mind for success, reduces fear, and strengthens self-trust. When you repeatedly picture yourself succeeding, self-doubt loses its grip. Finally, practice patience with yourself. Letting go of self-doubt does not happen overnight. It requires consistent effort, self-reflection, and self-compassion. Each time you challenge a negative thought, take action despite fear, or celebrate a small win, you weaken self-doubt and strengthen your confidence. Remember, self-doubt is a feeling, not a fact. You do not have to believe every thought that arises. By recognizing, questioning, and replacing self-doubt with self-belief, you create a mindset where self-love can flourish. The more you trust yourself, the easier it becomes to embrace your worth and live authentically. Letting go of self-doubt is not about becoming perfect or fearless. It is about believing in your value, trusting your abilities, and moving forward even when uncertainty exists. Self-love grows as self-doubt diminishes, creating a foundation for confidence, resilience, and happiness. Start today by noticing your self-doubts, challenging them, taking small steps, and speaking kindly to yourself. Each action brings you closer to a life where you fully trust, respect, and love yourself. Chapter 4: Embracing Your Imperfections. To truly love yourself, you must first accept the parts of you that are imperfect. So many of us spend our lives chasing an impossible image of perfection, believing that once we are flawless, we will finally deserve love and respect. But the truth is, perfection does not exist. Every human being has flaws, weaknesses, and limitations. The sooner you understand this, the sooner you can begin to embrace your true self. Imperfections are not failures. They are what make you human. Think about people you admire the most. You probably do not love them because they are perfect. You love them because of their authenticity, their honesty, and the way they embrace who they are. The same is true for you. People will connect with you, respect you, and even love you more when you allow yourself to be real. The problem begins when you believe that imperfection makes you unworthy. Many people feel ashamed of their flaws. They try to hide them or overcompensate for them. They say to themselves, "I'll be happy once I lose weight," or "I'll finally feel confident when I stop making mistakes." But this mindset traps you in endless self-criticism. You will always find something else to fix, something else to perfect. The cycle never ends. Instead of hiding from your imperfections, face them with compassion. Accept that you will never be flawless, and that's okay. Remind yourself that your imperfections are part of your uniqueness. They tell the story of who you are, what you've been through, and what makes you different from anyone else. Without flaws, life would be boring, and people would be identical. One of the most powerful ways to embrace your imperfections is to change the way you talk to yourself. If you constantly call yourself clumsy, lazy, or unworthy, those labels stick. Your inner voice shapes how you see yourself. Start by noticing when you judge yourself harshly. Then replace that judgment with understanding. Instead of saying, "I always mess things up," try saying, "I made a mistake, but that doesn't define me." This small shift can completely change how you relate to yourself. Imperfections also give you opportunities to grow. Think of every challenge or shortcoming as a teacher. Maybe you struggle with patience. Instead of hating yourself for it, see it as a reminder to slow down and practice mindfulness. Maybe you're not great at public speaking. Instead of avoiding it forever, see it as a chance to learn and improve. Your imperfections do not close doors. They open new paths for growth and self-discovery. Another key to embracing imperfections is to stop comparing yourself to others. Social media often makes this worse. We scroll through images of seemingly perfect people, and suddenly our flaws feel unbearable. But remember, what you see online is not reality. Everyone shows their highlight reel while hiding their struggles. Comparing yourself to someone else's filtered version of life is unfair and destructive. Focus instead on your own journey. Forgiveness is also essential. Many imperfections are tied to past mistakes. Maybe you regret something you said, or you feel embarrassed about a decision you made. Holding on to guilt only deepens self-hatred. Forgive yourself the way you would forgive a close friend. Understand that you did the best you could with the knowledge and resources you had at the time. Self-forgiveness frees you to embrace the imperfect, evolving person you are today. Imperfections can also connect you to others. When you share your flaws openly, people relate to you on a deeper level. Vulnerability makes you human, approachable, and authentic. Nobody connects with perfection because perfection feels distant and unreal. But when you admit your struggles, others feel less alone in theirs. By embracing your imperfections, you also inspire others to do the same. It is important to remember that imperfection is not weakness. Perfectionism is often rooted in fear, the fear of being judged, rejected, or unloved. But ironically, trying to appear perfect makes life harder. It causes stress, anxiety, and even burnout. True strength comes from being comfortable with your flaws, knowing that they do not reduce your worth. In fact, when you stop fighting against imperfection, you discover a sense of peace and freedom. One practical way to embrace imperfection is to practice self-compassion daily. Instead of criticizing yourself for mistakes, try saying, "It's okay, I'm learning." Instead of punishing yourself for not meeting impossible standards, Remind yourself that progress matters more than perfection. Self-compassion turns imperfection from something painful into something you can live with peacefully. Another practice is gratitude. Focus on what your imperfections have taught you. Maybe your struggles with anxiety have made you more empathetic toward others. Maybe your mistakes at work helped you build resilience and problem-solving skills. Gratitude shifts your perspective, helping you see flaws not as burdens, but as gifts. Over time, embracing imperfection becomes a lifestyle. You stop obsessing over what you cannot change and start focusing on what truly matters: growth, authenticity, and self-love. You begin to live more freely because you are no longer chained to impossible standards. Life feels lighter when you stop fighting to be perfect and instead celebrate being human. At the end of the day, imperfection is part of your beauty. Think of a piece of pottery with small cracks or a handmade sweater with uneven stitches. These flaws make the object unique, valuable, and full of character. You are no different. Your imperfections are not obstacles to self-love. They are proof that you are alive, learning, and real. So the next time you feel ashamed of your flaws, remind yourself, I am not meant to be perfect. I am meant to be human, and being human is enough. The moment you stop hiding your imperfections and start embracing them, you step into true self-love. Chapter 5. Building self-confidence from within. Confidence is not something that just appears overnight. It is built slowly, through how you think, how you act, and how you treat yourself. Real confidence doesn't come from what others say about you, or how many followers you have. It comes from knowing your own worth deep inside, even when nobody else sees it. The problem is that many people try to borrow confidence from outside things. They feel good only when others compliment them, or when they achieve something big. But as soon as things go wrong, their confidence disappears. That kind of confidence is fragile. True confidence is strong because it does not depend on approval. It comes from within. To build inner confidence, you have to start with self-trust. Think about how often you doubt yourself. You make plans, but then you give up halfway. You promise to start a new habit, but you break it after a few days. Every time this happens, your brain learns not to trust your own words. Confidence begins when you keep promises to yourself. Even small ones matter. If you tell yourself you'll wake up early, do it. If you say you'll study for 30 minutes, do it. These small wins rebuild your self-trust and slowly grow your confidence. Confidence is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes. But like muscles, it needs practice and patience. You cannot become confident by only thinking about it. You have to act. Action creates evidence, and evidence builds belief. When you face something uncomfortable, like speaking up in a meeting or introducing yourself to someone new, you train your confidence. Each time you step out of your comfort zone, your mind learns that you are capable. One common mistake people make is waiting to feel confident before they take action. They think, once I feel ready, I'll do it. But confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first. Confidence follows. The more you act, the more you believe in yourself. So instead of waiting to feel ready, take the first small step. That's how every confident person started. Another key part of building confidence is managing your self-talk. You can't expect to feel strong if your inner voice is constantly tearing you down. Notice how you talk to yourself when you make mistakes. Do you say things like, I'm so stupid, or I always fail? Those words become your truth if you repeat them long enough. Change your inner dialogue to something more supportive. When you fail, say, it's okay, I'm still learning. When you feel nervous, remind yourself, I can handle this. Positive self-talk rewires your brain to believe in your abilities. Confidence also grows when you focus on progress, not perfection. Many people destroy their self-esteem by expecting flawless results. But confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about knowing that you can handle imperfection. Every successful person has failed countless times. The difference is that they didn't let failure define them. They used failure as feedback, not as proof of weakness. Another powerful habit is to keep track of your small victories. Every time you accomplish something, no matter how minor, write it down. Maybe you spoke up in class, finished a workout, or said no to something that drained your energy. Each of these moments proves your strength. When you feel low, look back at your list. It reminds you that you have already overcome so much, and you can overcome more. Your environment also plays a big role in your confidence. If you spend time around people who constantly criticize or belittle you, it's hard to grow. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who see your potential even when you doubt yourself. Their belief can help you build your own. And just as importantly, learn to be that supportive voice for yourself. You shouldn't depend entirely on others for motivation. Learn to be your own cheerleader. Another truth about confidence is that it requires vulnerability. To grow, you must allow yourself to be uncomfortable. Confidence doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you move forward, despite it. Even the most confident people get nervous. The difference is, they don't let fear stop them. They understand that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to keep going anyway. Confidence also deepens when you know yourself better. Spend time understanding your values, your goals, and what truly matters to you. When you live in alignment with those things, you naturally feel stronger. People who lack confidence often don't know what they stand for. But when you have a clear sense of direction, you stop chasing approval. You don't need everyone to like you, because you know who you are and what you want. Body language can also influence how you feel about yourself. Try standing tall, keeping your shoulders back, and maintaining eye contact. These simple actions send signals to your brain that you are confident. You might not feel it at first, but the more you practice, the more real it becomes. Your mind and body are connected. How you carry yourself can shape how you think. Another important lesson is to stop comparing yourself to others. Everyone's journey is different. Comparing yourself only makes you forget how far you've come. You might be on chapter 2 of your story, while someone else is on chapter 10. Focus on your own growth. Your only competition is the person you were yesterday. Remember, confidence isn't loud. It doesn't mean showing off or pretending to be better than others. Real confidence is quiet. It's the calm belief that you are enough as you are, that you can handle whatever life brings. It's not arrogance, it's self-assurance. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone, because you already know it. Lastly, confidence grows when you take care of yourself. When you rest, eat well, exercise, and give yourself time to recover, your mind becomes stronger. Physical health and mental confidence are deeply connected. A tired, drained body cannot support a strong mind. Treat yourself with care, and your confidence will reflect that. Over time, you will notice a change. The things that once scared you won't seem so big anymore. The negative voice in your head will grow quieter. You will begin to trust yourself again, and that trust will turn into quiet strength. You will still have doubts. Everyone does, but they won't control you, because now you know your worth doesn't come from perfection or approval. It comes from within. When you finally realize that you'll walk through life differently, you'll speak with more conviction, take risks more freely, and love yourself without needing permission. That is true confidence, not the kind that fades when things go wrong, but the kind that lasts, because it was built from the inside out. Chapter 6. Stop seeking validation and start trusting yourself. Every person wants to feel valued. We all want to be seen, appreciated, and understood. But there's a fine line between healthy connection and constant validation seeking. When your sense of worth depends on other people's approval, you lose control over your own happiness. You start living your life based on what others think instead of what feels right to you. Think about it. How many times have you held back from doing something just because you were afraid of what people might say? Maybe you wanted to post a picture, share an idea, or try something new, but the fear of judgment stopped you. You began to think, what if they don't like it? What if I look stupid? This fear of disapproval is one of the biggest reasons people stay stuck in the same place. The truth is, seeking validation feels good for a short moment, but it never lasts. When someone praises you, you feel amazing for a little while. Then you need more. It becomes like an addiction. You begin to chase approval instead of purpose. And slowly, you forget how to validate yourself. The reason this happens is simple. Most people were never taught how to build self-worth from the inside. From childhood, we are rewarded for pleasing others, for getting good grades, following rules, and making others proud. We learn to associate our value with external praise. As adults, that pattern continues. Instead of asking, am I proud of myself? We keep asking, do they like me? But the more you depend on others for validation, the weaker your self-trust becomes. You begin to doubt your own thoughts, feelings, and decisions. You overthink everything because you are waiting for someone else to confirm that you're doing the right thing. That constant approval seeking drains your energy and steals your peace. The first step to breaking this habit is awareness. Start noticing when you are doing things just for validation. Maybe you over-explain yourself to get approval. Maybe you change your opinions to fit in. Maybe you post something online and keep checking who liked it. The moment you notice these patterns, pause. Ask yourself, would I still do this if nobody noticed? If the answer is no, you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for others. Learning to stop seeking validation doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop depending on their opinions to define your worth. You can still value feedback, but you no longer need it to feel good about yourself. You start living by your own standards. Trusting yourself is the opposite of seeking validation. It's believing that your feelings and decisions are valid, even when others disagree. Trusting yourself doesn't mean you'll always be right. It means you accept that mistakes are part of learning. When you rely on others for every choice, you lose your intuition. But when you trust yourself, even failure becomes progress because it was your choice. To build that self-trust, you must learn to spend quiet time with yourself. Silence helps you hear your own voice. Most people drown in noise, the opinions of friends, family, social media, and society. They forget how to listen to themselves. Try spending time each day reflecting, journaling, or simply sitting in stillness. Ask yourself, what do I truly want? The more you do this, the clearer your voice becomes. Another powerful habit is to practice making small decisions without seeking advice. Start simple. Choose what you want to eat, what you want to wear, or how you want to spend your weekend without asking for someone's opinion. Notice how it feels. At first, it might feel uncomfortable because your brain is used to external approval. But over time, it becomes easier. Each independent choice strengthens your confidence. You also need to accept that not everyone will understand or support you, and that's okay. People will always have opinions, but their opinions belong to them, not to you. You can't control what others think. You can only control how you respond. When you stop trying to please everyone, you free yourself from the impossible task of making the world happy. Ask yourself this: how many opportunities have you lost because you were too focused on what others thought? Maybe you didn't start a project, move to a new city, or pursue your passion because of fear of judgment. The truth is, the people you are trying to impress probably don't even think about you as much as you imagine. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves. Another way to break the need for validation is to redefine success. Instead of measuring your progress based on others' reactions, measure it by your own standards. Ask, did I grow today, or did I stay true to myself? When you start focusing on your personal growth instead of public approval, life feels lighter and more meaningful. It's also important to forgive yourself for the times you've relied too much on others' opinions. Don't judge yourself for it. Seeking validation is a habit many people develop because they crave connection. You're not weak for wanting to be accepted, but now that you're aware, you can begin to make a change. Trusting yourself also means accepting your emotions without shame. If you feel sad, angry, or confused, you don't need to hide it or wait for someone to tell you it's okay. Your feelings are valid just because they exist. When you trust your emotions, you begin to understand them instead of suppressing them. Emotional awareness strengthens your connection with yourself. Self-validation is a skill, and it takes time to develop. Whenever you do something well, acknowledge it. Say to yourself, "I'm proud of me." Whenever you make a mistake, say, "I forgive me." These simple sentences rewire your brain to depend less on others. Slowly, your self-esteem begins to grow from within. Here's a truth that will set you free. The need for validation never completely disappears, but your relationship with it can change. You can still appreciate compliments without depending on them. You can still value feedback without losing your identity. The key is balance. Learn to be your own source of encouragement first. Remember, the people who change the world are rarely the ones who seek everyone's approval. They follow their intuition, even when others don't understand. At first, people might doubt them, laugh at them, or even criticize them. But in time, the world respects those who dare to be themselves. You can be that kind of person too. When you stop chasing validation, something beautiful happens. Peace. You no longer need to prove yourself. You don't feel anxious about being liked. You start making choices based on what feels right instead of what looks right. You become authentic, and authenticity is where true confidence lives. From this point forward, remind yourself every day, "I don't need permission to trust myself. I already have everything I need within me." The moment you start believing that, your whole life begins to shift. Decisions become easier. Relationships become healthier, and your confidence becomes unshakable because it's no longer built on fragile approval, but on solid self-trust. You will still receive criticism sometimes, and that's okay. Criticism doesn't have to destroy you when you know who you are. Instead of taking it personally, you can ask yourself, is there truth here? If yes, learn from it. If not, let it go. You no longer need to defend yourself against every opinion because you are grounded in your own truth. In the end, the freedom you gain from trusting yourself is priceless. You start living your life for you. You say yes when it feels right and no when it doesn't. You stop apologizing for being who you are. You no longer need validation to feel valuable because you finally understand your worth doesn't come from how many people approve of you. Your worth comes from knowing you were enough all along. Chapter 7. Letting go of people who drain your energy. There comes a point in everyone's life when you realize that not all connections are meant to last forever. Some people come into your life to teach you something, to challenge you, or to help you grow. But once their purpose is complete, holding on to them can do more harm than good. The truth is simple but hard to accept. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. We often hear that love, friendship, and kindness are unlimited. But in reality, your emotional energy is limited. Every day, you wake up with a certain amount of focus, patience, and positivity. The people you surround yourself with determine how that energy is used. Some people lift you higher, while others drain you without you even noticing. Energy-draining people come in many forms. They may not always be obvious or toxic in a dramatic way. Sometimes they're subtle. A friend who always complains but never listens. A relative who criticizes everything you do. A coworker who gossips constantly. Or even a partner who takes more than they give. They don't need to be bad people. They just don't match the energy you need to grow. When you spend too much time around people like that, your motivation fades. You feel heavy, tired, and uninspired. You begin to doubt yourself. You start questioning your goals, and slowly, you forget who you were before their negativity took root. But here's something powerful. You have the right to protect your peace. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your mind and heart. Setting boundaries isn't cruel. It's necessary, because if you don't manage your energy, someone else will drain it for you. Many people stay in draining relationships out of guilt. They think, I can't just leave, they need me, or what if they get hurt? But ask yourself this: what about you? What about your happiness, your mental health, and your growth? You cannot heal others by destroying yourself. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to let someone go. The first step to freeing yourself from draining relationships is awareness. Start noticing how you feel around certain people. Pay attention to your energy. Do you feel calm and inspired after spending time with them, or do you feel anxious, irritated, and tired? Your body always knows the truth. Listen to it. If someone constantly makes you feel small, worthless, or guilty, that's a red flag. You don't have to wait for a big fight or betrayal to walk away. Emotional exhaustion is reason enough. People often think only toxic relationships should end, but even a relationship that simply doesn't align with your growth can become toxic over time. Learning to let go doesn't mean you hate them. It means you've decided to prioritize peace over chaos. You can forgive someone and still move on. You can care about someone and still realize they're not right for your journey. Sometimes the hardest people to let go of are the ones you've known the longest. Maybe you've been friends for years, or maybe they're family. You think, I've known them forever, how can I leave now? But time doesn't equal value. Just because someone's been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they deserve to stay forever. The quality of the connection matters more than the duration. When you finally create space by letting go of draining people, something amazing happens. You start to attract better ones. The universe has a funny way of rewarding you when you choose yourself. Once you stop tolerating negativity, you make room for genuine uplifting connections to enter. It's also important to understand that sometimes you might be the one draining others without realizing it. When you're hurt, angry, or lost, you may project that energy onto others. Don't be ashamed of that. Awareness is the key to change. Once you recognize it, you can choose to heal instead of harm. Letting go also involves emotional detachment. That doesn't mean becoming cold or heartless. It means accepting that you can't control other people. You can't fix them, change them, or make them love you the way you want. When you stop trying to control, you free yourself from disappointment. One of the hardest truths you'll learn is that not everyone wants to grow. You might be trying to improve your life, learn new things, or develop a positive mindset. But some people are comfortable staying stuck. When they see you evolving, they might feel threatened or insecure. They might try to pull you back down, not because they hate you, but because your growth reminds them of their stagnation. You can't help people who refuse to help themselves. Your responsibility is not to drag anyone with you, but to move forward and set an example. Maybe one day they'll be inspired to follow, but even if they don't, you must keep going. Letting go doesn't always mean cutting someone off completely. Sometimes it means limiting your exposure. You can love someone from a distance. You can be polite without being involved. You can support without sacrificing yourself. Boundaries are not walls. They're filters. They allow good energy in and keep bad energy out. If you feel guilty for creating distance, remind yourself of this truth. You're not rejecting the person, you're rejecting the behavior that harms you. Protecting your peace doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. Another reason people struggle to let go is the fear of loneliness. You might think, what if I end up alone? But solitude is not the same as loneliness. When you let go of people who drain you, you might feel lonely for a while, but that's temporary. What follows is peace, clarity, and strength. You'll start enjoying your own company again. You'll discover new passions, meet new people, and rebuild your confidence. Your energy is sacred. The people you allow into your life should respect it. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to grow, who celebrate your success, and who support your healing. If someone constantly takes and never gives, that's not love. It's imbalance, and imbalance will always drain you. In time, you'll learn that peace is better than attention. You'll choose solitude over fake connections. You'll value quiet mornings over loud arguments. You'll realize that real love feels calm, not chaotic. Letting go also means letting go of the version of yourself that tolerated less than you deserved. You are no longer the person who settles for one-sided relationships. You are stronger now, wiser now. You've learned that protecting your energy is an act of self-respect. Here's something to remember. Every time you say no to what drains you, you say yes to what heals you. Every time you walk away from negativity, you walk closer to peace. And every time you let go of someone who weighs you down, you rise higher. So don't be afraid to release. Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means making space for better. It's not the end of connection. It's the beginning of self-love. At some point, you'll look back and realize that the people you thought you couldn't live without were actually the ones keeping you from truly living. And that realization will free you. Because once you protect your energy, everything changes. Your mind clears, your confidence grows, and your happiness returns. You finally stop chasing people and start attracting peace. Letting go is not weakness, it's strength. It's saying, I choose peace over chaos. I choose myself. And that choice will change your life forever. Chapter 8. Learn to enjoy being alone without feeling lonely. There's a big difference between being alone and feeling lonely. Most people mix them up. They think being alone automatically means being sad, unwanted, or isolated. But the truth is, solitude can be one of the most peaceful and empowering experiences in life, if you know how to embrace it. Loneliness is not the absence of people, it's the absence of connection. With others, yes, but more importantly, with yourself. You can be surrounded by people every day and still feel deeply lonely. And you can be alone in your room and feel completely at peace. So why is it so hard for most of us to enjoy being alone? Because we've been taught from childhood that happiness comes from outside, from relationships, from friends, from social approval. We're constantly told that to be happy, we need to be surrounded by people, talking, sharing, laughing. Society makes us believe that solitude is a sign of weakness. But solitude isn't a weakness. It's strength. It's the quiet space where you truly meet yourself. When you're always around others, your energy is influenced by their thoughts, emotions, and expectations. You start to shape yourself to fit in. But when you're alone, you see who you really are, without the noise, without the masks, without the pressure. The first step to enjoying solitude is to shift how you see it. Instead of seeing it as no one's around me, see it as this is my time. This is your space to recharge, to think, to create, to learn, and to simply breathe. There's something powerful about silence. At first it feels uncomfortable. You might reach for your phone, scroll through social media, or text someone just to fill the emptiness. But that's only because silence exposes the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. When the noise fades, your true thoughts surface. And that can feel scary. But stay with it. Don't run from that quiet. In that silence lies clarity. You'll start to understand what you truly want, what you value, and what drains you. You'll start to hear your own voice again, the one that's been buried under everyone else's opinions. When you learn to enjoy being alone, you stop seeking validation from others. You no longer need people to tell you you're enough. You start giving yourself the love, attention, and respect you used to beg others for. And that's when your life truly changes. Think about it. Every great thinker, artist, and creator in history valued solitude. They understood that creativity and self-discovery require space. Solitude gives you room to think deeply, to reflect on your past and your goals. It gives you time to read, to write, to walk, to meditate. It's not about isolation, it's about growth. But enjoying solitude doesn't happen overnight. It's like building a muscle. At first you'll feel restless. You'll feel that itch to distract yourself. But the more time you spend alone, the more peaceful it becomes. Try this. Spend 1 hour every day doing something alone, without your phone, without music, without talking. Go for a walk, sit in a park, write in a journal. Think. At first, your mind will resist. It'll look for stimulation. But soon, you'll begin to notice little things, the way the wind feels, the sound of your own breathing, the rhythm of your thoughts. That's mindfulness in its simplest form. You'll start to realize that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone else showing up. You already have everything you need inside you. When you learn to be content alone, relationships stop being a necessity and start being a choice. You stop clinging to people out of fear of loneliness. Instead, you connect from a place of wholeness. That's when your relationships actually become healthier, because when you no longer depend on others for happiness, you stop expecting them to fill your emotional void. You stop demanding too much. You start giving more freely, because you already feel complete. There's a strange paradox in life. The more comfortable you are being alone, the better your connections with others become. You no longer fear losing people, because you know you'll be fine even without them. That freedom makes you more authentic. You start saying what you truly mean. You start setting boundaries without guilt. You stop pretending. Being alone also helps you discover your passions. When you have quiet time, you naturally start exploring what excites you. Reading, creating, cooking, designing, exercising. You begin to reconnect with your natural curiosity. You realize that your happiness was never about people. It was about purpose. A lot of people use constant company to escape themselves. They fear silence because silence makes them confront their insecurities. But true growth happens when you face those feelings, when you sit with your discomfort, your pain, your anxiety, not to judge it, but to understand it. That's where healing begins. In solitude, you begin to learn self-compassion. You stop criticizing yourself for your mistakes. You start forgiving yourself. You start treating yourself like someone you care about. You realize that you don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love, your own love. And something magical happens when you reach that point. You stop chasing. You stop chasing attention, approval, relationships, success, everything. Because you finally understand that peace doesn't come from addition, it comes from alignment. When you can sit alone in silence and feel content, you've reached a rare kind of freedom. That's when you start enjoying the little things in life. A cup of coffee, the sound of rain, a quiet evening. You no longer need the world to entertain you, because your inner world becomes rich and peaceful. Of course, solitude doesn't mean isolation. Humans need connection. But the difference is, you connect from choice, not from fear. You spend time with others because you want to, not because you need to. And that makes all the difference. To truly master solitude, learn to build a routine that includes it. Make it sacred time, your me hour. Use it for journaling, learning, self-reflection, or simply sitting in silence. Over time, you'll crave that space, because that's where your mind resets. And here's something beautiful: when you fall in love with being alone, you stop settling. You stop tolerating half-hearted relationships, fake friends, or meaningless conversations. You realize that peace is far more valuable than company. There will still be moments when you feel lonely. That's natural. Loneliness is a part of the human experience, but instead of seeing it as a problem, see it as a signal. It's your mind reminding you to reconnect, not necessarily with others, but with yourself. Whenever you feel lonely, do something that nourishes your soul. Read something inspiring. Go outside. Meditate. Listen to calm music. Write about what you're feeling. Don't fight loneliness. Understand it. Let it pass through you instead of defining you. The more you practice solitude, the more you'll notice a quiet strength growing inside you. You'll become calmer, more patient, and more self-aware. You'll stop reacting impulsively. You'll think clearly. You'll feel grounded. Being alone teaches you emotional independence, the ability to feel complete without needing external validation. It's not arrogance, it's peace. And once you find that peace, no one can take it away. So start small. Turn off distractions. Spend time with your thoughts. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, but over time, you'll realize this is where your power lives. Because when you truly learn to enjoy your own company, you stop being afraid of losing anyone else. You'll walk through life knowing that even if everything falls apart, you'll still have yourself, and that's enough. When you reach that point, you won't be chasing happiness anymore. You'll be living it, quietly, peacefully, and fully, one moment at a time. Chapter 9: How to Build Inner Peace in a Chaotic World. The world today feels faster and louder than ever before. Everywhere you look, there's noise, social media notifications, breaking news, constant opinions, expectations, and chaos. It feels like everyone is racing, competing, and comparing. In the middle of all that noise, it's easy to lose your balance, your calm, and your peace of mind. But here's something important to remember. Peace isn't something you find outside. Peace is something you create inside. You can't control the world, but you can control how you respond to it. That's what inner peace truly means. Not the absence of chaos, but the ability to remain calm while chaos surrounds you. Many people believe peace means having a perfect life. They think, I'll be peaceful when I have enough money, when I find love, when my problems are gone. But life doesn't work like that. There will always be noise. There will always be challenges. Peace doesn't come from fixing everything outside of you. It comes from learning to manage what's happening inside of you. Inner peace begins with awareness. You can't stay calm if you're not aware of what disturbs you. Pay attention to how your mind reacts to things. Notice what triggers your anger, your anxiety, or your sadness. You can't change what you don't notice. Once you see it clearly, you gain power over it. Think about how much energy we waste reacting to things we can't control. Someone says something rude, and we carry it in our minds all day. A plan fails, and we replay it over and over again. We can't stop traffic, weather, or other people's behavior, but we can choose how we respond. That choice is where peace begins. The mind loves to overthink. It tries to predict, control, and solve everything. But overthinking only feeds anxiety. It's like trying to calm a storm by stirring the water. The more you think, the more restless you become. Inner peace comes when you learn to quiet that mental storm. How do you do that? By slowing down, by breathing, by creating space between your thoughts and your reactions. When something bothers you, don't react immediately. Pause, take a deep breath, feel it, but don't feed it. You don't have to respond to every thought your mind throws at you. Most of them are just noise. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. That's what calm people do. They don't fight the world, they flow with it. They accept that not everything will go their way, and that's okay. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means understanding that reality is what it is. The more you resist it, the more it hurts. But when you accept it, you open the door to peace. There's a quiet strength in letting go of what you can't control. When you stop forcing outcomes, you start to relax. You start to see clearly. You stop trying to fight life and begin to flow with it. Meditation and mindfulness help you find that calm. You don't need to sit cross-legged for hours to meditate. You can simply sit quietly, close your eyes, and breathe deeply. Feel your breath move in and out. Let your thoughts come and go like clouds passing through the sky. Don't chase them. Don't fight them. Just watch. When you do that regularly, something beautiful happens. You begin to separate yourself from your thoughts. You realize you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. And that realization gives you freedom. Another powerful way to build inner peace is by simplifying your life. Most of our stress doesn't come from what's happening. It comes from having too much of everything, too many goals, too many obligations, too many distractions. We think more is better, but often more is just noise. Simplify what you can. Declutter your space. Say no to unnecessary commitments. Spend less time comparing yourself to others. Every time you remove something unnecessary, you make room for peace. Also, protect your energy. Not every battle deserves your attention. Not every argument is worth your time. Learn to walk away from things that steal your calm. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You don't have to respond to negativity. Silence is often the strongest response you can give. One of the biggest enemies of peace is trying to control others. You can't make people behave the way you want. You can't change their opinions, their choices, or their actions. You can only choose how you show up. Once you stop trying to control people, you'll feel lighter. Gratitude is another key to inner peace. When you focus on what's wrong, life feels heavy. But when you focus on what's right, your heart softens. Start small. Every morning, think of 3 things you're grateful for: your health, your breath, your bed, your family, the sun. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, and that shift creates peace. You'll also find peace when you forgive, not because others always deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Carrying resentment is like holding fire and expecting the other person to burn. It only hurts you. Let go, not for them, but for yourself. Another way to stay peaceful is by managing your environment. Who you spend time with shapes your emotions. If you're constantly around negative people, chaos will follow you. Surround yourself with calm, kind, and grounded people. Energy is contagious. Choose the energy that feeds your peace. Sometimes peace means taking a step back from everything. Social media, news, even people, just to recharge. You don't owe the world constant access to your energy. Take time to disconnect, reflect, and breathe. Inner peace also grows when your actions align with your values. When you live in conflict with what you truly believe, your heart feels heavy. But when your words, choices, and intentions align, your soul feels at rest. Live truthfully, speak honestly, act with kindness. That's where peace lives. And remember, peace is not permanent. It's something you must nurture every day. Some days you'll feel centered, other days you'll feel lost. That's okay. What matters is returning to peace, again and again. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes. You'll notice, over time, that things that used to upset you no longer do. Someone criticizes you, you don't react. Something goes wrong, you don't panic. You begin to respond instead of reacting. That's growth. When you have inner peace, the world doesn't control you anymore. You stop chasing things for validation. You stop fearing failure. You stop trying to win every argument. You begin to move slower, breathe deeper, and live lighter. You start appreciating small moments: the sound of rain, the warmth of sunlight, the laughter of someone you love. You realize that happiness isn't something far away, it's already here, in this quiet moment. True peace doesn't mean you stop caring about the world. It means you care without being consumed. You act from calm, not chaos. You help others without losing yourself. You listen more and speak less. The world will always be noisy, unpredictable, and imperfect. But you can still build peace in your own corner through self-awareness, acceptance, gratitude, forgiveness, and presence. At the end of the day, peace isn't found in some distant place. It's not waiting for you at the end of success. Peace is within you, right now, waiting for you to stop fighting, to stop running, and simply be. The more you return to that space of stillness inside you, the more life starts to make sense. You'll realize that calm is not weakness, it's power. The kind of power that doesn't shout, doesn't rush, doesn't compete, but transforms everything around it quietly. So when the world gets loud, don't fight the noise. Go inward, find your calm, because in the middle of chaos, the person who can stay peaceful wins. Chapter 10. Stop seeking approval and start trusting yourself. All your life, you've been taught to care about what others think. From childhood, you were rewarded when people approved of you and corrected when they didn't. Slowly, you learned that your worth depended on how others saw you, your parents, your teachers, your friends, your boss, even strangers online. Without realizing it, you started living for approval instead of authenticity. But here's the truth. The need for approval is one of the biggest prisons you'll ever live in, and the moment you stop chasing it, you become free. When you constantly seek validation, you hand your power to everyone else. You let other people decide how you feel about yourself. If they approve, you feel good. If they don't, you doubt yourself. Your emotions rise and fall based on opinions that change every day. That's not freedom. That's dependency. Think about it. People's opinions are temporary and often inconsistent. One day they like you, the next day they don't. You can spend your whole life trying to please them, but you'll never win, because what pleases one person might disappoint another. Trying to please everyone means betraying yourself. When you stop seeking approval, you start living according to your own truth. You start asking yourself, what do I really want? What feels right for me? That's where confidence is born, not from applause, but from alignment. Most of us seek approval because we fear rejection. We think, if I disappoint people, they'll stop liking me. But here's the secret. Rejection doesn't destroy you. It reveals who's truly meant to walk beside you. The people who love you for who you are will stay, even when you say no. The ones who only loved you for what you did for them will leave, and that's a blessing, not a loss. The approval-seeking cycle is subtle. You start by doing things to impress others, maybe dressing a certain way, talking a certain way, or hiding parts of yourself that others might judge. Over time, you lose touch with who you are. You become a version of yourself designed to be accepted. But every time you act against your truth, your inner peace fades a little. You can't be everyone's favorite and still be authentic. Real growth begins when you stop performing and start living honestly. Ask yourself, whose approval are you chasing right now? Maybe it's your parents, your friends, your partner, or society as a whole. But what if their vision of success isn't meant for you? What if their idea of happiness isn't what makes you feel alive? When you stop caring about fitting in, you start standing out. And yes, that can be uncomfortable. People might misunderstand you, criticize you, or call you selfish, but that's okay. Growth often looks like rebellion to those who refuse to change. Trusting yourself means believing that your choices, your path, your timing, all have value, even when others don't understand. It means choosing silence over explaining, choosing authenticity over approval. Let's be honest, validation feels good. When someone praises your work or compliments you, it gives a temporary high, but it's fleeting. The moment it fades, you crave more. That's how the addiction grows. You start living from the outside in, instead of the inside out. The real power is when you can look at your reflection and say, I like who I am, even if no one else claps. That's when you start trusting yourself. Trusting yourself is like building a relationship with a close friend. It takes consistency. You have to prove to yourself that you'll show up, that you'll keep your promises, that you'll listen to your intuition even when it whispers. Sometimes your gut feeling will tell you to take a risk, to walk away, or to say no. Others might call you crazy. But if you ignore that inner voice too often, it'll grow silent. Listening to your intuition is one of the purest forms of self-trust. There's a calm confidence that comes when you no longer need to explain yourself. You start living by quiet certainty instead of loud approval. You stop asking, will they like me? And start asking, will I respect myself if I do this? That single shift can change your life. When you trust yourself, you stop comparing your path to others. You realize that everyone is on their own timeline. Maybe someone your age is earning more money, has a bigger house, or more followers, but so what? You're not running their race. The only race that matters is the one you're running within yourself, to become stronger, wiser, and truer than you were yesterday. When you live for approval, you chase perfection. But perfection doesn't exist. It's just a moving target. When you live with trust, you embrace progress. You understand that mistakes are part of the process, not proof of failure. You stop punishing yourself for not being perfect and start appreciating yourself for showing up. And something beautiful happens. You start attracting people who respect your authenticity. When you're no longer desperate to please, your energy changes. You give off confidence instead of neediness. You become magnetic. Because people are drawn to those who are grounded in who they are. There's peace in realizing that not everyone will like you, and that's okay. You're not supposed to be for everyone. You're supposed to be real. Even the most loved people in history were criticized and misunderstood, so why expect universal approval? The moment you stop chasing validation, you start creating impact. Your focus shifts from how do I look to what do I contribute. You stop filtering yourself. You start speaking your truth. You start living with purpose. And when you do that, the right people will notice. Not because you tried to impress them, but because authenticity shines on its own. Here's a simple truth. People's opinions fade, but self-respect lasts forever. At the end of the day, it's not the crowd's applause that matters. It's your own heart's approval. Can you go to bed proud of the person you were today? That's what counts. So next time you catch yourself overthinking what others might say, pause and ask, why does their opinion matter more than my peace? If you live your life for their approval, you'll die with their silence. Trusting yourself is a lifelong practice. It's about building resilience. It's about saying, even if I fail, I'll be okay. Because when you have your own back, failure isn't the end, it's just feedback. So, stop looking outward for permission. You don't need anyone's approval to be yourself. You don't need likes, comments, or compliments to know your worth. You are enough right now. Not because someone said so, but because you decide so. The greatest freedom you'll ever experience comes the day you stop asking, what will they think? And start saying, what do I feel? When you make that shift, your world changes. You start making decisions that align with your soul. You stop apologizing for existing. You start living like you were always meant to. Free, authentic, and alive. So, stop seeking approval, start trusting yourself. Because when you do, you'll stop chasing people and start attracting peace. And that peace, that quiet confidence, will carry you through anything life throws your way. Chapter 11. How to build confidence when you feel insecure. Confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build one decision, one small win, one honest moment at a time. The truth is, everyone feels insecure sometimes, even the people who look strong on the outside. The difference is that confident people don't let insecurity stop them. They understand that confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the choice to act despite fear. Think about it. When you were a kid, you didn't worry about how you looked when you ran or how people judged you when you laughed too loud. You were naturally confident because you hadn't learned to compare yet. Then life happened. Someone laughed at you. Someone criticized you. You made mistakes. Slowly, insecurity started to grow. But confidence isn't gone. It's just buried under years of self-doubt and other people's opinions. You can rebuild it. The first step to building confidence is to stop judging yourself so harshly. You can't hate yourself into growth. You can't criticize yourself into strength. Confidence grows in environments of compassion, not punishment. When you talk to yourself like you talk to a close friend, your inner strength begins to return. Ask yourself this. If someone you love failed or felt lost, would you call them stupid or worthless? Of course not. You'd remind them that mistakes don't define them. You'd tell them to keep going. So why talk to yourself any differently? Your inner voice shapes your confidence more than any external validation ever will. Every time you speak kindly to yourself, you strengthen your self-belief. Every time you give yourself credit for small progress, you grow braver. Confidence also comes from doing. You can't wait until you feel ready, because you never will. You build confidence by taking action first, even when you're scared, even when you're unsure. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, even just a little, your brain learns something powerful. I can handle this. That's how confidence grows, not in your head, but through experience. Start small. Maybe it's speaking up once in a meeting. Maybe it's saying no to something you don't want to do. Maybe it's showing up to the gym when you don't feel motivated. Each small act of courage builds a layer of trust in yourself. Confidence is built like muscle, through consistent repetition. You don't get it overnight. You earn it over time. And here's the truth. Insecure people often wait for the feeling of confidence before acting. But it doesn't work that way. You act first, and the feeling follows. It's like walking into a dark room. At first, you can't see anything. But as you move forward, your eyes adjust. The more you act, the clearer your path becomes. Another key to building confidence is to stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. Social media makes it easy to feel like everyone else has it figured out. You scroll and see success, beauty, wealth, but not the struggle, the mistakes, the fear that came before. Confidence fades when you compare your real life to someone's highlight reel. Instead, measure your progress against who you were yesterday. Did you grow a little? Did you try something new? Did you show up when you didn't feel like it? That's progress. That's confidence. Insecurity often comes from focusing on what you lack. Confidence comes from appreciating what you already have. You can't build a strong foundation on self-rejection. Start where you are. Work with what you've got. Another secret to confidence is preparation. When you prepare, you eliminate uncertainty, and uncertainty is what fuels fear. If you're nervous about a presentation, practice. If you're scared to talk to someone, plan what you'll say. Confidence doesn't mean winging it, it means being ready. But remember, you'll never feel 100% ready. That's normal. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is progress. You also need to let go of the idea that confidence means being loud or extroverted. True confidence is quiet. It's the calm energy that says, I know who I am. It doesn't need to shout, it doesn't need to prove, it just is. Confidence is also built by keeping promises to yourself. When you say you'll do something and actually do it, your brain learns to trust you. That trust becomes unshakable confidence over time. But when you constantly break promises to yourself, you weaken that trust. Start small. Wake up when you said you would. Finish the task you started. Keep your word. Not for others, but for yourself. Each time you follow through, you tell your mind, I'm reliable. And remember, failure doesn't destroy confidence, it builds it. Every time you fail and try again, you grow more resilient. You realize that failure isn't fatal, it's feedback. It teaches you what doesn't work so you can find what does. Confidence is the courage to fail without losing your sense of worth. You might look at confident people and think, they have something I don't. But often, the only difference is that they keep going when others stop. They don't let fear win. They've failed too, but they learn to see failure as a teacher, not a verdict. Here's something powerful. Confident people aren't fearless. They just fear less. They feel the same emotions, anxiety, doubt, hesitation, but they move anyway. And each time they do, fear loses a little more power. To grow confident, you must also learn to receive compliments gracefully. Instead of dismissing them with, oh, it was nothing, try saying, thank you. You deserve acknowledgement. When you accept praise, you reinforce your sense of worth. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, not those who feed your doubts. Energy is contagious. Spend time around people who encourage you, challenge you, and remind you of your strengths. But most importantly, learn to be your own biggest supporter. Confidence starts when you stop waiting for others to validate you. It starts when you decide, I am enough as I am, but I'm also capable of more. Some days you'll feel strong, other days you'll feel small. That's okay. Confidence isn't constant, it's a practice. The key is to show up, even when you don't feel your best. That consistency builds momentum. When you start believing in yourself, everything changes. You walk differently. You speak differently. You make decisions based on possibility, not fear. You stop overthinking and start doing, and the more you do, the more proof you gather that you're capable, and that proof becomes unstoppable confidence. So if you feel insecure right now, remember this: you are not broken. You're becoming. Insecurity means you're aware of your gaps, and that awareness is the first step toward growth. Don't run from your insecurities. Learn from them. Use them as motivation to grow stronger. Every confident person you admire once stood where you are now. Uncertain, nervous, and full of doubt, but they started anyway. And so can you. Confidence isn't built overnight. It's built in the quiet moments. When you choose discipline over excuses, courage over comfort, action over avoidance, and slowly, day by day, you'll realize you no longer need to feel confident to be confident. Because real confidence comes from trust. Trust in your ability to handle whatever comes next. So, start today. Speak kindly to yourself. Take small, brave actions. Keep promises. And remember, confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's not about never doubting yourself. It's about not letting doubt control you. You have everything you need to become confident. It's not out there. It's already inside you, waiting for you to believe in it. So believe. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Because the moment you start believing in yourself, the world starts believing in you too. Chapter 12. How to protect your peace and energy from negativity. Every day we are surrounded by negativity. It comes in many forms: people criticizing, drama in relationships, stressful work situations, news stories, and even our own self-doubt. Negativity is like a storm. If you let it, it can blow through your mind and leave destruction behind. But here's the truth: you don't have to let it in. You can protect your peace and preserve your energy. The first step is awareness. You must recognize what drains you, who makes you feel anxious or stressed without even trying. Which environments leave you feeling heavy? What habits steal your energy? Negativity is contagious. Being around negative people or environments can affect your mood and decisions, even if you're normally calm. So the first rule is to identify your sources of negativity. Once you know them, you can decide how much space to give them. Boundaries are essential. They are not walls built out of fear or anger. They are fences built out of self-respect. When someone repeatedly disrespects you or brings constant drama, you don't have to engage. You can limit your interactions, walk away from arguments, or mute conversations. Protecting your energy doesn't make you rude. It makes you wise. Your own thoughts can also be a source of negativity. The mind loves to replay fears, doubts, and regrets over and over. But just because you think something doesn't mean it's true. You can choose which thoughts to feed and which to ignore. Meditation and mindfulness are powerful tools here. They help you notice your thoughts without reacting to them, like watching clouds pass through the sky. Energy management is another key. Your energy is finite. Every time you engage in unnecessary drama, anger, or worry, you spend energy you can't get back. Protect your energy by prioritizing what truly matters. Ask yourself, does this deserve my attention? If the answer is no, let it go. Another important aspect is not taking things personally. People are often negative because of their own struggles, not because of you. Someone criticizes you, insults you, or tries to provoke you. Their behavior reflects them, not you. When you stop personalizing everything, you protect your peace. Gratitude and perspective also shield your energy. When you focus on what's going right, the impact of negativity diminishes. You start seeing challenges as opportunities instead of threats. You realize that life isn't about eliminating problems, it's about how you respond to them. Social media is a massive source of unnecessary negativity. Scrolling endlessly through posts, comparing yourself, reading arguments, and consuming alarming news can drain your energy faster than almost anything else. Limit your exposure. Unfollow accounts that make you anxious. Curate your digital environment to support calm and growth, not stress. Your physical environment affects your peace too. Clutter, noise, and chaos in your surroundings can add to mental clutter. Simple acts like tidying your space, playing calming music, or spending time in nature can recharge your energy and strengthen your resilience against negativity. Learn to say no without guilt. Many people feel obligated to engage, explain themselves, or accommodate everyone's expectations. But every time you say yes to something that drains you, you say no to your peace. Saying no isn't selfish, it's necessary self-care. Also, be mindful of what you feed your mind. The books you read, the shows you watch, the podcasts you listen to, all these shape your mental energy. Choose content that uplifts, educates, and inspires rather than amplifying fear, anger, or jealousy. Another tool is reflection. Journaling or thinking about your day can help you identify energy leaks. Did someone upset you unnecessarily? Did you spend too much time in worry? Did you react to negativity automatically? Reflection allows you to spot patterns and make conscious choices next time. When negativity comes at you directly, pause before responding. Take a deep breath. Don't act from a reactive place. Often your energy is wasted on things that disappear if ignored. By creating a pause, you gain control. You choose whether to engage or protect yourself. It's also important to surround yourself with positivity, but not in a fake, forced way. Build relationships with people who lift you up, who encourage your growth, and who respect your boundaries. Energy is contagious. Spend time with those who energize you rather than drain you. Self-care routines are critical. When your body and mind are tired, negativity hits harder. Sleep well, eat well, move your body, and spend time doing things that nourish your spirit. When you're strong and rested, you can handle challenges calmly without losing your peace. Remember, protecting your peace is not avoidance. It's a conscious choice. You don't run from problems, you engage with clarity and calm. You don't avoid conflict, you navigate it without letting it consume you. Visualization can help too. Imagine a shield around you that keeps harmful energy from reaching you. Picture yourself responding with calm instead of reaction, acting from clarity instead of chaos. Mental practice strengthens your ability to maintain peace in real situations. Negativity thrives on drama and emotional reactions. By responding calmly, you disarm it. You don't give it fuel. The less energy you spend on negativity, the more you can spend on what truly matters: your growth, your relationships, your goals. Finally, accept that some negativity is unavoidable. Life will throw challenges, difficult people, and uncomfortable situations your way. You can't control everything. What you can control is your inner response. That is where true power lies. Protecting your peace is a daily practice. It's not a one-time act. Every day you make choices about where to place your attention, how to respond, and what energy to allow into your mind. Over time, these choices create a strong foundation of calm and resilience that negativity simply cannot shake. When you master the art of protecting your peace and energy, you experience life differently. You feel lighter, calmer, and more in control. You react less, reflect more, and make decisions from a place of clarity. People may still try to provoke you. Situations may still challenge you, but you'll notice a difference. You won't be consumed. You won't be reactive. You'll be grounded in your own power, calm in the middle of chaos. Protecting your peace is the ultimate form of self-respect. It says, I value myself enough to choose calm over chaos, growth over gossip, and clarity over conflict. When you start practicing these habits daily, life begins to feel less heavy. Challenges still exist, but they don't dominate your mind. Negativity loses its grip. You create a space where joy, creativity, and energy can flourish. And remember, Every time you protect your energy, you strengthen your ability to handle anything that comes your way. Peace and resilience are built one conscious choice at a time. So today, choose to guard your mind and heart. Choose to spend energy wisely. Choose calm over chaos. Because when you protect your peace, you create a life that negativity cannot touch. Chapter 13. How to let go of things you can't control. Life has a way of throwing things at you that you simply cannot control. Sometimes it's obvious. A sudden loss, a job change, a health scare. Other times it's subtle, someone else's behavior, a traffic jam, a delay or a mistake that affects you. Whatever form it takes, the inability to control these events can create frustration, stress, and even resentment. But here's the truth. The sooner you learn to let go, the sooner you regain your peace, focus, and energy. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop trying or ignore responsibilities. Letting go means accepting reality as it is and directing your energy toward what you can influence. It means understanding the difference between what's inside your control and what isn't. Most of us spend too much time trying to control the uncontrollable. You can't force someone to love you, respect you, or behave the way you want. You can't control how the world responds to your actions, how others perceive you, or what challenges appear in your path. Yet, so many people exhaust their energy trying. When you cling to what you cannot change, you give your power away. You live in frustration, worry, and fear. Your mind becomes a battlefield of what-ifs and should-haves. This is where suffering begins, not from events themselves, but from your resistance to them. Letting go begins with awareness. Recognize what's truly beyond your control. Ask yourself honestly, can I change this situation? Can I influence this person's choices? If the answer is no, then it's something to release. Holding on will only drain you. Acceptance is the next step. Accepting doesn't mean liking or agreeing with the situation. It simply means acknowledging reality as it is. Say to yourself, this is happening. I cannot change it. I can only choose how to respond. Acceptance is the gateway to peace. Emotions will arise: anger, sadness, disappointment. Let yourself feel them, but don't let them dictate your actions. Feel the emotion fully, process it, and then consciously release it. The longer you resist, the stronger it sticks. Emotional resistance creates a mental loop of suffering. Mindfulness is a powerful tool for letting go. When your mind dwells on uncontrollable situations, it often ruminates endlessly, replaying scenarios or imagining worst-case outcomes. Mindfulness teaches you to observe your thoughts without getting trapped in them. You become the watcher of your mind, rather than the prisoner. Another way to let go is to focus on your response instead of the problem. You may not control events, but you do control your behavior, decisions, and attitude. Direct your energy toward constructive actions, self-improvement, or finding solutions where you have influence. Action replaces helplessness with empowerment. Detach from outcomes. One of the main reasons we struggle to let go is because we obsess over results. We imagine how things should turn out and resist reality when they don't. Detachment is not indifference. It is understanding that your effort matters more than the outcome. You do your best and release attachment to what happens next. Forgiveness is also a form of letting go. Holding grudges, resentment, or blame keeps your energy tied to the past. Forgiveness frees you, not the other person. You don't have to reconcile or approve of someone's actions. You simply release the emotional grip so you can move forward. Sometimes letting go requires a shift in perspective. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this challenge make me stronger? Seeing obstacles as opportunities rather than punishments allows you to embrace life's uncertainties without clinging to control. Setting boundaries is crucial. If certain people or situations repeatedly create chaos or stress that you cannot fix, limit your exposure. Protect your time, energy, and emotional space. Letting go isn't passive, it's active self-care. Gratitude can also ease the process. When you focus on what is going well in your life, you create a mental balance against what is going wrong. Gratitude shifts attention from what you can't control to what you already have, reinforcing resilience and calm. Letting go takes patience. The mind resists change because it craves certainty. You may find yourself slipping back into control-driven thinking. That's normal. Gently remind yourself, I cannot control this, but I can control my peace. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Visualizations can help. Imagine a rope tied to the situation you cannot control. Now imagine releasing it and letting it drift away. Visualizing this release helps create mental and emotional space for peace. Accept that uncertainty is part of life. You cannot predict every event or outcome. Trying to do so creates anxiety. Confidence grows not from controlling the future, but from trusting yourself to handle whatever comes. You can't stop the wind, but you can adjust your sails. Letting go also means stopping overthinking. When you constantly replay scenarios in your mind, you're feeding the illusion of control. Thoughts are not facts. Most worst-case scenarios never happen. Break the cycle by focusing on action or by redirecting attention to what is within your control. Self-compassion supports letting go. Be kind to yourself when things go wrong. Don't berate yourself for mistakes or uncontrollable events. Treat yourself with the same understanding you'd give a friend. This reduces internal resistance and reinforces peace. Understand the difference between effort and control. Effort is within your grasp. You can try, learn, and grow. Control is the illusion that your effort guarantees a certain outcome. Let go of what you can't guarantee, and focus on what you can create. Spirituality or personal belief systems can also provide support. Many people find strength in trusting a higher power or the natural flow of life. Surrendering to something greater can release the pressure of personal control and create inner calm. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring responsibilities. It means engaging with life fully while releasing attachment to how others, events, or outcomes behave. You still care, you still act, but your energy isn't trapped in resistance. Over time, letting go becomes a habit. You'll notice fewer emotional reactions to uncontrollable events. You'll think more clearly, act more decisively, and maintain inner peace in situations that once triggered stress. When you practice letting go, you reclaim your energy. You stop wasting it on things beyond your influence and use it for growth, creativity, and meaningful action. Life becomes lighter, and your mind becomes your ally instead of a battlefield. The ultimate freedom comes from realizing that nothing outside you has the power to disturb your peace unless you allow it. Life will always have uncertainties, challenges, and people beyond your control, but your response is always yours to choose. Every time you let go, you teach yourself that happiness, calm, and strength do not depend on circumstances. They depend on your ability to release, adapt, and act wisely. Letting go is a journey, not a one-time decision. Some situations require repeated practice. Some people resist forever. That's okay. Keep returning to your peace, keep directing your energy to what matters, and keep choosing freedom over control. And remember, when you let go of what you cannot control, you don't lose power. You gain clarity, strength, and the ability to focus on what truly matters. You stop reacting to chaos and start creating your own calm. Life is unpredictable, but when you master the art of letting go, you are no longer at the mercy of events. You are steady, you are resilient, you are free. Chapter 14. How to take full responsibility for your life without blaming others. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and unexpected twists. It's easy to point fingers, blame circumstances, or hold others responsible for what goes wrong. But the truth is, blaming others only keeps you stuck. Real growth, freedom, and power come when you take full responsibility for your life. Not just the easy parts, but everything, including your reactions, choices, and outcomes. Taking responsibility doesn't mean you caused every problem. It doesn't mean you accept guilt for someone else's mistakes. It means understanding that the one thing you can control is your response, your actions, and your mindset. Every time something goes wrong, you have two choices: blame or ownership. Blame gives you temporary relief. It makes you feel like a victim, but it also keeps you powerless. Ownership, on the other hand, puts you in the driver's seat. It's uncomfortable at first because it forces self-reflection, honesty, and action. But it's also liberating because it means you hold the keys to change. Most people avoid responsibility because it's easier to complain or criticize others than to look inward. It's easier to say, life isn't fair, they ruined everything, or I can't do anything because of them. But those words trap you in the story of helplessness. They convince you that you are not in control of your life. The first step to true responsibility is self-awareness. Look at your life objectively. Where are you today? How did your decisions, actions, or inactions contribute to where you are? This isn't about self-criticism, it's about clarity. When you understand your role, you gain the power to change. Next, examine your reactions. Often, it's not what happens that holds us back. It's how we respond. Someone says something hurtful. You feel anger or resentment. You dwell on it for hours, days, or weeks. That reaction is your choice. You cannot always control the actions of others, but you can control how long their actions affect your life. Taking responsibility means looking at yourself honestly, acknowledging mistakes, and committing to improvement. It's not always comfortable. You might discover that some of your habits, choices, or attitudes have contributed to problems in ways you never realized, but acknowledging them is the first step toward change. Another key aspect is stopping the victim mindset. Victim thinking goes like this: I can't succeed because of X or Y. It blames external circumstances for every setback. But life isn't about finding reasons why you're stuck. It's about finding solutions. The sooner you stop seeing yourself as a victim, the sooner you reclaim your power. Ownership also requires proactive thinking. Waiting for someone else to fix your problems or make life easier keeps you dependent. Instead, ask yourself, what can I do right now to improve this situation? Even small steps matter. Consistent action builds momentum and confidence. Responsibility includes your goals and dreams. It's tempting to wait for permission, opportunities, or support from others. But the truth is, no one can live your life for you. If you want something, it's up to you to pursue it. Complaining about lack of support won't move you forward. Ownership does. Part of taking responsibility is also owning your emotions. Emotional maturity is not about suppressing feelings. It's about acknowledging them and responding wisely. If you feel fear, anger, or sadness, ask yourself, what can I do with this emotion that serves me rather than harms me? Emotional ownership transforms feelings from obstacles into fuel. Forgiveness plays a role here as well. Sometimes we blame others because we haven't forgiven them. Carrying grudges or resentment gives others control over your emotions. By taking responsibility for your peace, you choose to forgive, not for them, but for yourself. Letting go of blame frees your energy and allows you to act from clarity. It's important to separate responsibility from guilt. Responsibility is empowering. Guilt is debilitating. Responsibility says, I can influence change. Guilt says, I am powerless. Understand the difference and embrace the one that propels you forward. A practical way to practice ownership is to write down areas where you tend to blame others. Next to each, ask yourself, what can I do differently? Focus on actions you can take rather than circumstances you cannot control. This exercise shifts your mindset from reactive to proactive. Consistency in taking responsibility builds trust with yourself. Every time you face a challenge and respond with ownership, You reinforce the belief that you can handle life. Each decision, each action, strengthens your inner authority. Over time, you no longer feel like life is happening to you, you are happening in life. Responsibility also involves learning from failure. Instead of saying, "This is unfair," ask, "What can I learn from this experience?" Growth comes when you extract lessons, adapt, and move forward. Blame keeps you stuck in the past. Ownership moves you into the future. Taking full responsibility transforms relationships too. When you stop blaming, you stop arguing endlessly about who's right or wrong. You start focusing on solutions, communication, and growth. People notice the difference. You become reliable, composed, and respected. Sometimes ownership requires courage. It's easier to find excuses, to shift blame, or to rationalize why you can't. Courage is saying, "I will face the truth, take action, and accept the consequences." That courage fuels freedom. Responsibility also includes your health, mindset, and habits. You cannot control genetics or external events completely, but you can control your choices around what you eat, how you move, how you think, and how you react. Each conscious choice strengthens ownership over your life. The more you practice ownership, the less control you seek from others. You stop waiting for approval, validation, or opportunities. You create your own momentum. You become the architect of your life. At its core, taking full responsibility is liberating. It stops the endless cycle of blaming, frustration, and dependence. It gives you clarity, focus, and control. You no longer feel like life is happening to you. You are fully engaged in shaping it. The ultimate freedom comes when you combine responsibility with self-compassion. You acknowledge mistakes, learn from them, take action, and move forward without harsh judgment. This combination is unstoppable. No one else is in charge of your life. You are. You have the power to respond, adapt, and choose. When you embrace this truth fully, every decision becomes purposeful, every challenge becomes an opportunity, and every setback becomes a lesson. So start today. Stop blaming. Start owning. Take control of your actions, your mindset, and your life. Your future depends not on circumstances, luck, or others, but on the choices you make right now. The path to freedom, growth, and success begins with one simple principle: I am responsible for me. Chapter 15: How to Build a Life That Feeds Your Soul Every Day. A life that truly feeds your soul is not built overnight. It is created moment by moment, choice by choice, habit by habit. Feeding your soul means more than surviving. It means waking up each day with purpose, feeling alive, and knowing that your actions, your thoughts, and your relationships contribute to something meaningful. The first step is clarity. What does a soulful life mean to you? For some, it's about connection, relationships that inspire and support. For others, it's creativity, contribution, or personal growth. Take time to reflect on what makes you feel energized, fulfilled, and aligned with who you truly are. A life without clarity drifts. A life with clarity flows. Next comes intentionality. Every day is an opportunity to make choices that align with your vision. What you consume, your food, media, conversations, and habits, either nourishes or drains you. Being intentional means deliberately choosing experiences, relationships, and practices that uplift your mind, body, and spirit. Morning routines are powerful. Starting your day with intention sets the tone for everything that follows. It doesn't have to be complicated. A few moments of mindfulness, journaling, reading something inspiring, or movement can anchor your day. When you feed your mind and body first thing in the morning, you're less likely to react impulsively to stress or negativity later. Connection is essential. Humans are wired for relationships, and meaningful connections feed the soul. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, support you unconditionally, and share values that matter to you. Equally important is spending time alone. Learning to enjoy your own company, reflect, and recharge. Balance between connection and solitude strengthens your sense of self. Gratitude is a daily practice that nourishes your spirit. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, your perspective shifts. Life begins to feel abundant. Gratitude doesn't ignore challenges or pain. It acknowledges them while also recognizing what is working in your favor. Over time, this simple practice rewires your brain to see opportunity instead of obstacle. Learning and growth are also vital. Your soul craves stimulation, curiosity, and mastery. Whether it's reading, taking courses, practicing a skill, or exploring new ideas, daily learning feeds your intellect and purpose. Growth keeps you alive, awake, and engaged in life, rather than stuck in routines that drain your energy. Physical well-being matters too. Your body is the vehicle for your soul. Movement, nutrition, rest, and self-care are not indulgences, they are investments. A strong, healthy body allows your mind to focus and your spirit to thrive. Neglecting the body weakens both your energy and your connection to life's potential. Meaningful work is another cornerstone. Whether it's your job, a side project, or volunteer work, engage in activities that give you a sense of contribution. Work that aligns with your values feeds your soul far more than work done for status or money alone. Purpose-driven effort provides energy, satisfaction, and long-term fulfillment. Boundaries are critical. Protecting your time, energy, and attention ensures that you can invest in what truly matters. Say no to distractions, toxic relationships, and activities that deplete you. Saying no to what doesn't serve you is saying yes to what does. Boundaries are a daily exercise in self-respect and soul preservation. Mindfulness and presence are essential. Life isn't just about goals or achievements, it's about experiencing each moment fully. Slow down, notice your surroundings, savor your experiences, and engage deeply with what you're doing. Being present allows your soul to absorb life's richness rather than skim through it in autopilot. Creativity is a direct nourishment for the soul. Engage in activities that allow expression without judgment. Writing, painting, music, or problem-solving. Creativity opens doors to joy, flow, and fulfillment. It reconnects you to your inner self and reminds you of your uniqueness. Helping others amplifies your own sense of meaning. Acts of kindness, service, and generosity create connection, purpose, and joy. When you contribute to the lives of others, your own life feels larger, more vibrant, and more deeply connected to the world. Reflection is important. At the end of each day, pause and evaluate what fed your soul today, what drained it, what actions or choices could you make tomorrow to align more closely with your vision of a soulful life. Reflection allows adjustment, growth, and conscious living. Balance is key. A soulful life isn't about constant intensity, work, or self-improvement. It's about rhythms, action and rest, giving and receiving, focus and leisure. Overcommitting to any one aspect can burn out your energy and disconnect you from your inner self. Spirituality or connection to a higher purpose can deepen fulfillment. For some, this is religious faith. For others, it's a connection to nature, the universe, or personal philosophy. Recognizing that life is bigger than immediate circumstances helps anchor perspective, resilience, and meaning. Joy is non-negotiable. Don't wait for a perfect life to experience happiness. Seek small moments of joy every day. A walk in the sun, laughter with friends, music that moves you, or quiet reflection. Joy is a choice, cultivated daily, and it feeds the soul continuously. Letting go is also part of building a soulful life. Release grudges, regrets, and unnecessary worry. Carrying them only drains your energy and obscures the beauty and potential of the present moment. Forgiveness and acceptance allow you to focus fully on what enriches your life. Consistency matters. Feeding your soul is not a one-time event, it's daily practice. Small, consistent actions, reading a page of a book, meditating for 5 minutes, walking outside, journaling, expressing gratitude, accumulate over time and produce profound transformation. Authenticity is essential. Align your actions with your values. Speak truthfully, live intentionally. Pretending to be someone else, conforming to expectations that don't fit you, or hiding your true self drains energy and creates inner conflict. When you live authentically, your soul thrives naturally. Curiosity keeps life fresh and vibrant. Explore new ideas, cultures, experiences, and perspectives. Curiosity keeps your mind active, your spirit engaged, and your heart open. Stagnation kills joy, curiosity feeds it. And finally, surrender to the flow of life. Plan, act, and strive, but accept that you cannot control everything. Life's unpredictability is part of its beauty. Trust yourself, trust your choices, and trust the journey. A soulful life is not perfect. It is vibrant, intentional, and alive in every moment. When you commit to feeding your soul every day, life transforms. Challenges become lessons, ordinary moments become rich experiences, and each day contributes to a life of depth, meaning, and fulfillment. You become the gardener of your inner world, tending to it with care, intention, and love. Every choice you make matters. Every habit you form compounds. Every action you take either nourishes or depletes your spirit. By intentionally building a life that feeds your soul, you create not only personal fulfillment, but also the energy, presence, and wisdom to positively influence everyone around you. The journey doesn't end, it evolves. Every day is a new opportunity to nourish your mind, body, and spirit. Every day, you get to choose, consciously, what feeds your soul. Make it a habit, make it a priority, make it your life. Because when your life feeds your soul, everything changes. You live with energy, purpose, joy, and clarity. You inspire others, you influence the world, you experience life at its fullest, and you leave behind a legacy of love, wisdom, and peace.